Sure. All right. Thanks everyone for joining us. Today we are talking about new travel events. We have several different meetup groups, and all of you are around the world. We've got some amazing new things happening, new trips in person for April and May is what we've got today. So today I have a special guest, the tour guides and leaders, the ones that have handcrafted these tours. So first up, I've got Cindy Cohen, who has the Travel Ninja Meetup group, if you're not familiar with it. So go ahead, Cindy, and do a quick introduction and tell us about, you've got a trip April 29th to Napa Valley, and it's a
Oh,
camping trip.
can't see that. Yeah, thanks, April. I have the Travel Ninja. My name is Cindy Cohen, and I've been running the Travel Ninja Meetup for quite some time. And I try to help women and other folks get independent with their travel. So I have done a number of things like solo travel. We've gone to Iceland, but this year, because we're trying to stay close to home for a bit, I'm doing a couple of camping trips in the summer. And the one I'm going to talk about today is the one that I'm doing in Napa. I've done this once before, and it's a ton of fun. It combines two things I love, which is camping in a tent and sitting around a campfire and drinking wine. So who doesn't like all of those things? When I discovered that the state campground in Napa is literally across the street from 2 or 3 wineries, I thought, well, there we go. I don't even have to get in the car. So there's a lovely, beautiful state campground across the street from about 3 or 4 vineyards. Frank's Vineyard is the one that's across the street from us. And so we will go up for the weekend. We'll meet on Friday, set up our camp and our tents. And typically, if you can get that up before dark, we can walk across the street and see the winery and visit them first thing before we settle down for dinner. And then on Saturday morning, we get up after sleeping and camping. We'll have a pancake breakfast, which we share. And then we hop in carpool and we go visit wineries. So I'll be announcing which ones those are. I try to select the ones that are lower cost, so we're not spending a ton of money on the wineries. Some of them are very expensive, and if we see 4 or 5 of them, it could be a couple $100 if they're $50 each. We look more at the $20, $30 range, so we can keep the cost down. But even if you don't want to taste wine or don't want to do that, please go with us on the winery tours, because the buildings, the facilities, the property is beautiful. So we go visit the wineries, learn a little bit about what's happening there, and then go on to the next one. So that's the whole afternoon, whole day on Saturday. And then we'll have a dinner together Saturday night, and then get up in the morning, have another breakfast. And there'll probably be a field trip planned for Sunday on our way before we leave. So we'll all carpool because everybody's driven up there. So we may visit something, either a winery or something that's in the Napa area on our way out of Napa is typically how we do it. So it's posted on Meetup. It's on my website, and I think I'll post it here in the chat when we have just a moment. But that's what I have coming up. And it's April 29th is the Friday that it is.
And I'm sorry, did you say how many people?
I do 16 people on the campsite, including myself, so 15 guests. Typically, it fills up. So the last time I did this, I had a wait list because it's such a cool way to visit Napa, and at this time of year.
Sounds like a fabulous trip, super amazing. So next up, I've got Sheila Stone, who I've known for many years. In fact, we met at a travel show. So what a great thing there. And we've had many meetup groups in Los Angeles, and she's doing this amazing thing called Speed Data City. So go ahead, Sheila, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about this new series called Speed Data City.
Thank you, April. Okay, Speed Data City is basically spending a long weekend in a city and finding sort of a taster of a city. So I've got one coming up that's full, and it's coming up in just a few weeks in Santa Fe. The one I'm going to talk about is San Antonio, Texas. And people don't necessarily think about San Antonio when they think, oh, I want to go to a special city, but San Antonio is fantastic. It's got this beautiful river walk. We arrive on Thursday. Thursday night, we're taking a cruise, a nighttime cruise along the river walk. On Friday, we're going to be walking around walking around the river walk. We're going to the largest Mexican market outside of Mexico. There's wonderful food, all kinds of great food to eat. Excuse me. And then on Saturday, we're going to leave San Antonio and we're going a few miles out of town to a wonderful historic town called Greene. And Greene has the oldest dance hall in Texas. We're going to have a wine tasting. Notice a theme.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think there's a theme with all three of you, and we'll get to that soon.
Surely not. And there's this lovely old general store. There is a wonderful restaurant where we're going to have lunch. And then on Sunday, we'll have brunch, a really nice brunch. And then that's the weekend. So that's kind of the plan that the weekends take. But, and then there's another one later in the month in Washington, D.C. So, hey, if you're looking to travel, but you're not quite comfortable getting out of the country yet, and although Cindy's sounds wonderful that you may not want to camp,
Right.
I think camping is wonderful, but not everybody does.
That's right.
Please consider these because they're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Great. And Sheila, how many people? Did you mention that? I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. I didn't. It's topped at 8 people.
Okay.
And
wow.
everyone gets their own room at no extra charge.
So you got to sign up for these guys. You got to sign up today, guys. I'm going to be like the telethon manager here. Like, get your calls in now.
Well, before they get full, because that sounds amazing. I love the speed date city, Sheila. So I'm so excited for this.
Yeah.
It's a really cool idea. I'd love to say that I took it, that I was the one who came up with it. Actually, I nicked it from a friend. Not that she did the trips, but that was what she called when she would be on a business trip. And I did ask her.
It's a lovely idea because we want to just in a long weekend, right? I love that. Just go.
Yeah, not everybody can get a lot of time off work. So yeah.
All right. So I'm going to ask Lisa, who's joining us from Tuscany area. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Lisa, and you've got a trip to Tuscany. I've got it here for May 29th, I think was the starting date, if I got that correct.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
So welcome,
June
Lisa.
3rd. Thank you. I'm very happy to be here. It's, as you can see, cold here today, but it's sunny and cold. And my next trip, I'm the owner of Wild Thing Expeditions, and I create group trips for women only. And I sort of combine a little bit of coaching and guided visualizations, journaling prompts, along with physical activity. So I've guided trips literally all over the world. And I had so many people say to me, Lisa, look where you live. And I thought, well, yeah, it's my backyard, but it may be somebody else's dream come true. So I've created a trip literally in my backyard. Our first aperitivo, our first cocktail together is at my house. So it's all the trails all around the hills here that I know. And it's not, what I like to say, this is not a race. None of us is a spring chicken anymore. This is just to get outside, get your heart rate up a little bit, enjoy the views, work up an appetite so you can enjoy all the great Tuscan food. So it's 5 days, and each day is pretty much, it's similar in the sense that we get up, we have an optional, everything is optional, not the walk, so you have to go. Guided meditation and writing prompt. So we have something to think about while we're walking in nature.
Nice.
And then we split the hikes into morning and afternoon. So they average 5 to 6 miles, which isn't a lot. So you're doing 2 or 2.5 in the morning, 2 or 2.5 in the afternoon, with a great lunch in between.
Wow.
And the lunches vary from beautiful outdoor picnics to really surprise locations in the middle of nowhere. All of a sudden there's a restaurant. And that's what I love about Tuscany.
It sounds amazing.
It's really fun. It's really fun. And during the week, we'll have 2 visits to local small towns. So you do get a little bit of shopping opportunity. It's lovely to be out in nature, but you're in Italy. You want to do a little shopping. So I've woven that into. We also have, to stick with the theme, a sommelier guided wine tasting. My partner is a sommelier, so. And we have a cooking class, so you get to learn how to make pasta with Maya. And there's some other surprises along the way that I don't want to give away right now because they wouldn't be a surprise.
Yeah, I like that. It's nice to have
I will say that our venues are lovely. They are restored farmhouses. And the last one is, for me, the most special because the rooms are lit by candlelight. It's very magical.
Oh, wow.
And the bathrooms all have sockets and you can charge your phone and use your hair dryer. But the rooms are magical. And we all eat at a huge long table, old farm style. So you were getting a taste of real Tuscany, real local Tuscany. So
that's amazing.
That's sort of the trip in a nutshell. And if you have any questions, of course, I'm happy to answer.
Yeah. And I do see some questions popping up in the chat. I've got someone asking about costs. So Cindy.
The cost is, I wrote it down here, $2,447. And you do have your own room the entire trip. It's limited to 6, I call them wild things. It's limited to 6 women, 6 wild women. And I've already sold 1 spot. So actually there's only 5 left.
Yeah,
and
5.
People are interested. Actually, I've had a couple emails. So if you are interested, I do encourage you to go to the website and sign up because I think it is going to sell out relatively quickly.
Yeah.
Because Italy, by the end of the month, is going to go out of alert. So no more masks, no more green pass requirement. It's like back to normal.
Right.
So I'm so looking forward to that, as are we all.
Yeah, that's fabulous. So if you want anyone's contact information, Lisa, Sheila, or Cindy will put all of that in the contact and the notes, and you can reach out to us via Meetup. Sheila, how much is your weekend trip that you've got coming up that you were speaking about?
My weekend trip is I wasn't prepared as much as I thought I was.
Okay.
It's under
I have it open, 749.
Thank you. I was going to say it's under 8. It's that little last couple digits. Yes, it's under 8. It's all women. As I said, everyone gets their own room. It doesn't include airfare.
Okay.
And but it does include ground transportation once we're there.
Okay. Perfect.
And there are some good airfare deals out there depending on where you live. So
yeah, Southwest is banging right now.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a few new airlines too. Like if you have access to Avalo, they're running some $29 and $40 deals across the country. So
yeah, especially those little locations, right? If you're going to San Antonio, I don't know if Avalo goes there, but they're just got a West Coast, right?
They got West Coast and they've got some East Coast now too.
Oh, they did. Oh, cool.
But it's just the West Coast isn't connected to the East Coast yet, so it's kind of regional.
That's why Texas is there.
Right,
connection.
You can get off the plane and switch.
Yeah, there you go. Cindy, costs.
Oh, well, mine is the budget one because you're sleeping in a tent. So it's $120 for the weekend. I'm also asking people to potluck, so you'll see that it's economical. It is the most economical way to see Napa because the hotels are so pricey. It's very hard to find a hotel in Napa, even the most budget conscious one, for less than $200 a night because of where you're at. And as I said, the proximity of this camping location is right across the street from a winery, so we don't even have to get in the car. Wow. So it's a lovely, lovely trip. So, and I will help everyone. I do another trip in June called Camping 101 for anyone who's never been camping. And I've also done this a couple of times because I found doing the camping trip, I got a lot of people asking for help. Like, I've never set up a tent. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do any of this stuff. I don't know how to cook over a fire. So we do those kinds of things at the Camping 101. It helps for like this one, we might have a mix of people who have experience and people who don't. It always feels a little odd when the people who don't, they don't know how to ask because they're around experienced campers. So they sort of, fall to the back of the group and so forth because they're not sure what to do. In Camping 101, everybody doesn't know what they're doing and we all just learn together. But even on the Napa trip, if you don't know how to camp or you've never been, please just let me know. I'll put you with other people who don't. And I'm happy to get on the phone with you and tell you, what to bring if you need to purchase anything, that kind of stuff. Oh, Kathleen says,
I was just going to say, I was going to read it for you. So Cindy, she's asking you, do we bring food and cook together and potluck? That's the first
The
question.
first question, yes, we do that, and you'll see that on the page that we potluck one meal. I provide 3 meals. I provide breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So I provide 1 dinner, 1 lunch, because I do the lunch for the winery tour, because we kind of do box lunch, and I do 1 breakfast. Otherwise, we do kind of cook together. So you'll see that you need to, we potluck for the meals. So you'll bring, I have a sign up sheet and people do it. It works out beautifully. We always have way more food than we need. And we cook together. So if you're not sure what to do, I've done this before. So I have a list of recipes I can send you. And I can also tell you what to pick up at the local grocery store. If you're not a cooker, you can just stop and pick up things to bring. So for the
Cindy is super organized. I must say that. If you haven't seen our travel shows or our other stuff we do, she's got a whole sign up sheet. She'll assign you what to bring. So make it super, super simple. And the next question Kathleen has is, I don't have a tent. Is there a possibility of sharing and carpooling to get there? Excellent question.
Yes,
thank you.
Yeah, yes. Because as I said, I do the camping 101, so I don't require people to bring tents for that. So I have extras. And also lots of people have a larger tent that can hold a couple of people. I do. So if you want to come and you need a tent to sleep in, I can find some place for you to either bunk with me or someone else, or give you a tent of your own if we have extras. And carpooling, because it's a state campground, and it's far, Napa is quite a ways from here. I highly encourage that. So I have a sign up sheet for that.
Yeah, of course. And it's
that
so
allows
much more
people
fun to carpool, because then you can chat or make stops along the way.
And I'll tell you that on these carpooling trips, I have made, long-term friends, because we sit in the car for 6 hours driving to Napa. I did one in Kings Canyon a couple of years ago, and that is also another friend, the person who I carpooled with, right? Not only did we camp for the weekend together, but we had 6 hours each way stuck in the car together. So a great way to make bond and great friendships. So yes, carpooling is available, Kathleen.
Great question. So, Sheila, you mentioned there were 6 spots open still for San Antonio. Was that it, or is it down to 5 or so?
6 spots. 6 spots.
And tell us a little bit again about is there time for quiet time? Is it all activities? A little bit more info on that.
Well, it's a little more activity full than like my longer trips, because you're only there for a few days. Yeah. But yeah, there is still, there's time for shopping. We'll go to, like, say, the Mexican market, and we're not all going to go en masse, walking around this Mexican market. That would be creepy. But we, we'll say, okay, we've got, X amount of time. Go do whatever you want to do. There'll be time if you want to just sit and, have a cup of coffee or a glass of wine. You're on the river walk. Just watch people go by, watch the boats go by. In Green, it's a really interesting historical town. So yeah, there will be time. There will be free time. And this particular trip isn't full of a lot of excursions. So that's a lot of it is we are going to be walking around and seeing things and just sort of meandering.
Yeah, San Antonio, I've heard, is beautiful. I've actually never been there. So I bet at night it's beautiful just to be out and walking around. I should look up the temps. Does anyone have an idea of, Sheila, temperatures, weather for this time of year in April?
It's pretty temperate that time of year. In the summer, there's a reason this is not a trip in the summer. It is blistering and humid and not fun. But this should be just about, perfect. You might certainly take a jacket or a sweater, because in the evenings it can get cool. But yeah, there might be rain. You can never absolutely say it won't, but it should be a really mellow weather wise.
Nice. Beautiful. Lisa, tell us a little bit about what to pack. What are some things we should think about packing?
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up, because I chose spring on purpose, because the wildflowers are starting to come up, and here the poppies are bright orange. I grew up in California. I also wanted to say, if you haven't been to Napa, I lived over the hill from Napa. It's beautiful. Go.
Beautiful. Yes.
And I think that's one of the reasons I ended up here, because in many ways it's very similar to Northern California weather-wise. So the spring is pretty temperate. We could get some rain. Definitely bring a shell, so that because we will walk unless it's just torrential downpours, and layers, because it can be cool in the evenings. It may get up to 70, maybe 75 during the day. So, and generally that time of year, it's doesn't rain, but I always pack to be safe. So layers and a waterproof shell of some sort, and you should be just fine.
Wow. Sounds amazing. I'm tempted by all of these, but obviously I'm not going far right now. Kathleen has another.
I didn't mention, I meant to mention that there will be a pickup at Arezzo, which is about a 45-minute drive from here. So once you make your way to Italy, Florence is the closest airport, and it's only about an hour train ride to Arezzo from there. So we'll all meet at 11 o'clock there, and I will take you back there so you can continue your travels to wherever you're going, to Rome or wherever you decide to go after the trip.
Excellent. I'm glad you included those details. Perfect. And I think I see another question. Kathleen was asking a little bit about social distancing. So if anyone wants to add some info on that, I know a lot of these trips are taking place outside, but
I'm asking for vaccination just so that we don't have to, because camping, we are sharing food, and we're going to be in the, even though we're outside, we're going to be in tents, and we're going to get in, hopefully get in cars. I want to act as normal, right, as we can. And if everyone is vaccinated, that will be the best. Of course, if anybody feels uncomfortable when they're in a car or in a place, they can put on their mask, and we will follow the state guidelines when going into buildings or wineries, whatever's required for that. But at the campsite, it was my feeling, if we had vaccinated guests, we could take off our masks and feel a little more comfortable. So that's what I'm asking for, to make it safe for myself and everyone else.
Great. Sheila, any response?
Absolutely the same thing as far as vaccinations go. Just for the safety and comfort of everybody, I want everyone to be vaccinated. I'm not sure what the rules are in the state of Texas right now. I think there aren't any.
It's pretty lax.
They're pretty lax.
You're right.
But, by all means, everybody, please bring a mask.
Yes.
Because if, we want to be safe. You want to go home with great souvenirs. You do not want to go home with COVID as a great souvenir.
Right.
So
right.
Let's be safe. You probably still have to wear masks on planes.
Yes. Yes.
Unless it's going to change in the next couple weeks or a few weeks.
Right. They're not saying that it is the last.
I've not seen anything.
Yeah.
So, we want everyone to be safe and comfortable, but I would say for the most part, we don't need to worry too much about that, but you have to be vaccinated.
Right. Lisa.
Yes, as you just mentioned, the airlines are requiring you to wear masks for now, and to get into Europe now, you have to be vaccinated. So and check with your airline, because they'll give you what the requirements are if you have to have a test within 48 hours of getting on the plane.
Right.
Okay.
And especially for coming
That
back.
will still be the case, but I don't know that for a fact, and things are changing all the time.
Yes.
Right now, as I said, currently we have to wear masks when we enter a building, not a grocery store, but if you're going into a restaurant, you have to wear a mask, and you have to have proof of vaccination. Now, by the time May rolls around, very likely that won't be required anymore, but definitely bring proof of vaccination, bring a mask, because we don't know when things may or may not change.
Right.
Exactly.
Right now, if you're outside, there are no masks required. It's only when you go into a restaurant or a museum or something like that you have to wear a mask. And once you're seated in the restaurant, obviously, you take your mask off.
Right. And check too, if you're flying internationally, what the requirement is, because it has been coming back into the United States too, that you're required to, have a negative test. And I don't know if that's changing. I mean, everything's changing on some of that on a daily basis. So
yeah, and we can all.
I was just going to say that's easy to organize here. All the pharmacies do the tests. So if that's the case, I can help you arrange that So you're tested before you go home.
Right.
Before you
I was going to say, as these trips get closer, you, Lisa, Sheila, and I are all watching it very closely. So if you have questions or you want to know, just reach out, because we would be happy to help you navigate that if you have questions around that.
Yeah. I see another question for Cindy. How often are you doing the Napa trip?
I only do it once a year because it's really the only time to go. So I try to get it in before summer hits, because it gets pretty warm up there, and then camping outside can be difficult. We can't go in the winter. I tried a trip, I think one of the first years I did it, it was very cold. We were at the end of, I think, February or March, and it was fine during the day, but when it got dark, we were freezing. So I know better than to go any earlier than April. We have to, and this time I'm going at the end of April, hoping to have a little warmer evenings. The temperature drops quite a bit, just like you would expect in Southern California as well. So if summer's too hot, winter's too cold, there's just a shoulder season. I could probably do one in the fall, but I'm usually somewhere else in the fall. So spring is when I do it.
Excellent. Great. And Sheila, how many more cities are you offering? Just real quick.
Excuse me. Right now, I'm offering Washington, D.C. In the works is Chicago, Seattle, Philly, and Portland.
Oh, fabulous. Wow.
So
very nice.
Yeah.
And Lisa, I know, is coming to the U.S. to do a cross-country bike tour. So
Yeah.
we'll have.
So I'm not running my
that.
Tuscany trip in the fall, because I'm going to be on a bike.
Right. But we can also set up some meetups, hopefully around the trip. So keep posted on our meetups. So I don't see any other questions, I don't believe. Cindy and I are hosting a coffee chat, as we always do, it'll be right a half hour. We'll have a half-hour break after this, and it's on our meetup pages. It's also on Facebook. We've posted it. The topic today is animal stories. So even if you don't have an animal story about an animal encounter or chasing animals or photographing them or whatever you want to do, we still encourage you to come. You meet other travelers, share their stories, or just come and listen and join in. We have people join us from around the world. We've been doing this for, almost going on 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
And it's a lot of fun. We used to do in-person coffee chats in LA, but this is a wonderful way to connect with friends we've met in other places, Florida, Italy. We've even had some people join from, I can't even name all the countries now.
New Zealand, Australia, Russia, France,
Oh.
everywhere.
Yeah.
They come in from everywhere. And we've also been blessed with people joining us while they're traveling on occasion, which is fun too. They're actually doing something fun, and we can get a peek at their vacation when we're not vacationing.
So really quick, I'm going to go around each of you. Please let everyone know where you want them to find you. Cindy, what's the best way for people to find you and your trips?
So if you're on Meetup, I have a Meetup group called the Travel Ninja, so you can find it there. And then I'll put the links in the description. So if anybody's watching this recording, and then Exploration Warrior, which is the name of my website, you can check it out there. And there's, I think there's a link called Upcoming Trips, and you'll see this one in the Camping 101 there as well for now.
Great. Sheila.
Easiest way to find my trips is SheilaStoneTours.com.
Perfect.
So they're there, and there are links that go to give you all of the information with detailed itineraries on every trip.
Perfect. Wonderful. And Lisa?
My site is called wildthingexpeditions.com, and you'll find my Tuscany trip, my safari, and my Patagonia trip there. And more to come. More to come.
More to come. So exciting. So we should do this more often, ladies, because I know we all have trips. So this is a lot of fun.
Yep. We will probably do this more regularly, because we do have others too with other great trips throughout the year coming up. So check the space, like, subscribe, comment below. And thank you so much for joining us today. And we hope to meet you in our travels soon.
Thanks, ladies.
Thanks.
It was great.
Bye.
Ciao for
All in
now.
half an hour.
Ciao, ciao.